Hello, Cleveland. Welcome to a first and 1085 edition of the Dogland Podcast. I am your host, Anthony Joki. As always, I got Jackson McCurry rolling with me as we discuss some of the injury news over the past day or so with the Browns stemming from the terrible loss to the Baltimore Ravens yesterday, 38-6. Jack, how are we doing today?
Doing well. I mean, if anybody that follows me on Twitter knows, I never in my wildest dreams think I'd get into a Twitter fight with an ex-Browns head coach, but I did that today with Hugh Jackson, and the mentions are still blowing up. But other than that, it's been a good day. How about you, man?
Did you get blocked yet or no? Because I was wondering if I'm sure that was coming.
No, I'm sure. He's gonna let me live in his head rent free, just like we had to live in the torture that was his coaching tenure with the Browns rent free. So no block yet.
Well, before he blocks you, he's gonna have to review the tweets. So we'll see how that goes. Um, but we wanted to get on here and oh, I gotta laugh at myself for that one. We want to get on here and discuss some of the injury news because it's kind of unfortunate that David Njoku was hurt in yesterday's game and the Browns placed him on injured reserve. With the new injured reserve rules for the season, um, players have to stay on there at least 3 weeks. So he will be out at least 3 games. Adam Schefter said that he sprained his MCL in the game yesterday against Baltimore. So now, Jack, he was maybe the lone bright spot of yesterday's game, other than maybe Larry Ogunjobi, but uh, he had 3 catches for 50 yards, a touchdown, and it looked like they really got him involved. However, now for the next 3 games, we're not going to have him. So now you look to Austin Hooper, who you acquired in free agency. You look to Harrison Bryant, who they drafted and is highly regarded. You look at Steven Carlson, who had 15, 16 snaps yesterday. So, unfortunately, the Browns will be without Njoku for the next 3 games.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. There was the uncertainty during camp. People were saying, like, is Njoku going to make the roster? Are they going to trade him? Even though he said, he was all in for the 2020 season. And then he goes out, he only played 17 snaps, but he made those valuable. Like you said, he had the big 3 catches. Thought he played well, and he graded out well. He was one of the top 2 highest rated offensive players according to Pro Football Focus with Wyatt Teller. So Njoku has a good game, and unfortunately, the injury bug bites him again. Yeah, I mean, he's only out 3 weeks, which isn't terrible. But this is a good chance for Harrison Bryant, who played a significant amount of snaps yesterday. And then, Steven Carlson gets an opportunity. Maybe they sprinkle in Andy Janovich, who didn't play a lot of snaps, although I think we thought he'd be utilized a lot more. Maybe he gets an opportunity as a tight end. I know they were going to use him potentially as a receiver out of the backfield. So maybe they add a tight end. Maybe they call back Pharaoh Brown. It's going to be interesting to see how they deal with the tight end position. We kind of thought that maybe they would ease Harrison Bryant into a role, but he played 31 snaps yesterday. So maybe they just roll with the 3 until Njoku gets back. So, but it sucks that he's injured because he had a pretty good game yesterday.
Yeah, he did, and it's tough, when somebody who played well yesterday gets hurt and um, is going to be out for the next 3 games. So hopefully, they're able to figure things out, especially with all the multiple tight end sets that they use. If they're going to want to pick up another tight end, you mentioned maybe bringing back Pharaoh Brown. I would imagine maybe he's still hanging around just in case. I know that players have to clear the COVID protocol before they come in for a tryout. So I wonder how that's going to go in terms of maybe potentially bringing in a tight end. More bad injury news, or at least we think it's going to be bad because we haven't heard anything yet, is the rookie linebacker Jacob Phillips suffered a leg injury yesterday, and judging by the photo that he posted, it doesn't look good. His leg was completely wrapped. It was in a leg-long brace. And if that's the case, Jack, not having Mac Wilson already, um, potentially losing Jacob Phillips, you lost a couple linebackers in free agency. Who's going to be headed out there as linebackers on Thursday night?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that another one of our rookies got hurt. Phillips, we all kind of thought, and he did start at linebacker yesterday, didn't play a lot of snaps. Um, but it's just unfortunate that another injury has to happen. We already lost Delpit. Talk about Wills here in a moment, but to see Phillips go down, he made some plays yesterday. Lamar Jackson would take off and run, and at one point you'd seen Phillips go after him, and he showed some speed, and that's nice. To have that rookie linebacker, with some speed to be able to hopefully down in the future be a guy that they can put as a QB spy, somebody that can defend the likes of Lamar Jackson, maybe even if we go up against a Kyler Murray or any of the mobile quarterbacks. Josh Allen comes to mind as well. But going forward, obviously in the Thursday night, I mean, Taki and Goodson played the majority of the snaps on Sunday. I imagine they go with them. I see Malcolm Smith get in late in the game yesterday. Tay Davis played a little bit as well. So I would imagine they roll with these guys. Mac Wilson should be back probably in the next few weeks. Maybe, they have an open roster spot now with Njoku going on to IR. So maybe they, bring in another linebacker perhaps. It's going to be interesting. Maybe not this week, but maybe, after this game's over against Cincinnati coming up that they decide to, bring in another linebacker or just roll with the guys we got at this point.
Yeah, I think it's possible that they could bring in a linebacker with especially how thin they are now. But having that open roster spot is helpful if you want to do that. And they wouldn't have to make any more moves regarding that. But I'm curious how they're going to approach Thursday night. I would tend to think maybe they'll just add an extra defensive back or an extra safety from the practice squad up to the roster, somebody that knows, especially on a short week, instead of trying to bring somebody in here and kind of expecting them to play possibly. Um, the other injury to discuss, Jedrick Wills, who actually played a really good game. And if you guys don't follow Hawaii Browns, aka Mike, on Twitter, he posted a very nice clip thread of the work that Wills did yesterday, and there were some very solid things that he did, and he played very well. The X-rays came back negative on his leg, and it appears that things are going to be fine. I wonder if they're going to do an MRI, but hopefully it wasn't anything serious, and taking him out in a blowout for somebody who maybe just got a little bit banged up was extra precaution, and he'll be good to go Thursday night against the Bengals.
Yeah, you definitely hope that it's not a lingering injury. He played quite well for his NFL debut yesterday. I seen he only gave up a sack and a couple hurries, so very encouraging, especially against a tough Baltimore defensive front. So, but even if he's down, maybe even this week, I thought Kendall Lamb played well, although you can't really judge it too much because it was in the fourth quarter, and I'm sure Baltimore wasn't going 100% considering they had a 32-point lead. But yeah, it's good news that the X-rays came back negative. Hopefully, it's nothing serious. The fact that Stefanski didn't mention that they weren't doing an MRI would have to be good news. So the fact that we missed a potential serious injury with our top draft pick is a very encouraging sign.
And if I remember correctly, the sack he gave up was after the play where we think he got hurt. So maybe that has something to do with it as well. Other than that, he played a pretty solid game in his first career NFL start. The other roster move that the Browns made today is they decided to cut kicker Austin Seibert, who the Browns drafted in the fifth round, and um, they did have Cody Parkey on the practice squad, and they decided to elevate him to the active roster. So after one game, one missed field goal, one extra point, The Browns cut Austin Seibert, and now we have Cody Parkey to go into the stadium on Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, we said it on the post game show on Sunday night. We just did not think that Seibert he wasn't going to be on the roster very much longer. You look back last year, he missed 5 extra points, which were the second most in the league, behind only Adam Vinatieri. It was so bizarre, Anthony, that they did not bring another kicker in during. They didn't sign one during the offseason. And then when camp started, there wasn't anybody there to push Seibert in a competition. They did work out a few guys. Parkey was one of them. And then ultimately they did sign Parkey to the practice squad. So you knew that, Seibert was kind of, his leash was going to be short. Well, he misses an extra point yesterday and then misses a field goal at the end of the first half, which, allowed Baltimore to capitalize and put another touchdown on the board. And, the thing, Seibert was not. Everybody talked about his accuracy coming out of Oklahoma, but I just never seen it going all the way back to training camp last year. He was always wide right or wide left. Wasn't consistent. I always thought that Greg Joseph was going to make the team, but then I thought Seibert will make it because this is Dorsey's draft pick. So that's just never made any sense to me. And we'll see how Cody Parkey is. I mean, everybody remembers that game against Miami in 2016 where he missed 3 field goals, including the one to go into overtime, or at the end of regulation. We ended up going to overtime because of it. But after that, he only missed 2 more kicks the rest of the year. Went 20 of 25 from field goal and 20 of 21 from extra point. And then, of course, everybody remembers his infamous kick with the Bears that cost them a playoff victory against the Eagles. But I mean, he's a veteran kicker. This is obviously going to be a new experience for him, kicking without fans. Maybe this works out for him. Maybe he wanted to deal with crowd noise. He can just go out and just act like he's out there on a practice field, kicking off a tee or something. I mean, Parkey's been around the block a few times in the NFL, so hopefully he could come in and just do his job and hopefully not cost the Browns a football game.
I guess the one positive behind this is he's somebody who's kicked in First Energy Stadium before, which is never an easy task. We've heard Phil Dawson many times explain what it's like kicking in that stadium. So at least there's some experience there doing that, and hopefully, uh, the kicking game does get better because special teams yesterday was pretty atrocious, which kind of matched the rest of the team performance. So. Um, Hopefully things are fine in the kicking game going forward. And Jack, as we get on out of here, anything else you want to cover?
No, I think we covered all that we needed to for Monday, and I'm sure we'll be back later this week to preview the upcoming game against Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's we definitely got a short week, so we wanted to do this one just to get some of this news out there because there's going to be a lot to cover in a short period of time. So be sure to follow Jack on Twitter at Jack McCurry08. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and the website as well. That is at Anthony Joki, Joki, and at the Dogland. With all that, get on out of here. As Jack mentioned, we'll be back tomorrow or Wednesday to talk about the Bengals and most importantly, go Browns.